Hey everybody, this is Tony, and I'm here today with a special guest, none other than the artist and actor, a man who does it all, really, Mr. Alonzo. How you doing today?
Good, man. Happy to be here. How are you doing, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much. How have you been doing during the midst of this whole pandemic and everything
Good.
since the shutdown?
Man, since the pandemic, life hasn't changed very much for me because I'm a nurse, so I've been at work the whole time, probably working more than I normally do. So it's been pretty normal for me. My daily routine hasn't changed very much outside of my personal time. I can't go to the movies when I want to. And
Right, right.
can't go to the club on the weekends, but
No.
it's the same for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. I used to love to go to Walmart at like 2 o'clock in the morning just to walk around. Now I can't even do that.
Can't do that. No late night runs of Wally World.
Right. Everything changed up. So I'm just like, it's crazy. They close at 9 o'clock here now. So I don't even go. I just
Wow, where are
ride
you?
past it. In Miami.
Oh, Miami. Wow.
Yeah. They started closing at 9 o'clock now. They literally come on the speaker at like 8:30, like, we're getting ready to close.
Last couple of items now. See, that's because y'all was cutting up in Miami. Y'all wasn't abiding by any of the little COVID regulations. They like, we gotta shut
Listen,
down at 9.
these people, they don't care. I don't know what's going on. I always tell people like Miami is a little bit different than Florida. If you know anybody from Miami, they'll say that. But some of these Miami people are a little different too.
I believe it. I believe it.
It's crazy. But I want to talk about some music though, of course, because I know you got some out. So I was listening to your single "It's Complicated" earlier, which I enjoyed. I love the sound of that. So where did that song come from? I know that you wrote it as well. So how did you come up with that?
I did. Well, thank you first off. I appreciate it. That song came from a life, life experiences. Sometimes in life you deal with folks and you might be in a situation that you need to get out of, but you stay in it sometimes because it's comfortable, because it's familiar.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get back out there, be in a dating pool. And sometimes it ain't even about a relationship, like a romantic one. Sometimes it's about your friends, and sometimes it's about work, your job. And I know I, for sure, I'm a creature of habit. So when there's something that I like and that I'm comfortable with, I'm gonna do that. Even if there's bad times, there's rocky times. If I'm comfortable, familiar with it, I'm a rock with it. So that's kind of what It's Complicated. It's about being in that situation where you need to get out, but right now I'm just gonna stay here where I'm at, and be content in the moment.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because I think all of us do that at some point or another. So it's definitely relatable, but I don't know why, but it sounded like something that I'm used to hearing. I don't know what it is that's in that song, but I heard it, or it's reminding me of something. I just couldn't figure out what it was though. Like,
well, that's good. I mean, I don't know if you ever heard it before, but it could have been deja vu.
Yeah, I think that's what it might be, but it reminded me of something, and I'm like, okay, it reminded me of something good though, something a song, but I don't remember what
You don't remember what song it is? Remind you of?
No, I couldn't think of it for the life of me. I was like trying to figure it out too. I'm like, what is it? What is it? But I could never figure it out.
It's funny that you say that because for me, I think when I go into the studio and record a new song, there's always like a reference track or several tracks or just a feel that I will want to capture or create. So it's funny that, it's funny when I hear people that hear the song and they say, it sounds like something else. I'm like, oh, really? Everything in this day and age, everything is inspired from something or, imitating something else or, a variation. There's only so many things on the piano. It's only so many sequences of notes and sounds. So, but I'm glad it was a good familiarity, and that's hopefully other people feel the same way.
Yeah. It was definitely something new though. Don't get me wrong. It didn't sound like that, but there's just the beat of it. I think sounded something similar that was like maybe a '90s song or something. I don't remember.
Well, you know what it is too. There is at the beginning, the intro of the song. I do have like a little layered part on there that gives you like a '90s throwback. So it kind of has that '90s element or nostalgia, if you will, early 2000s, but with a little bit of a trap drum beat and a little different, you know, like an eclectic, like an eclectic little mashup, mix up situation. So it makes you feel a bunch of different ways. It's complicated. That's the whole point. Point.
That's a good way to bring it around. I like that.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it is. But I want to talk about music in general too, beyond just a single. So how long have you been doing music as a whole?
So I've been doing music probably, wow, see now you about to put some age on me, man. I've been doing music. So I started creating music probably when I was like 10 or 11 years old. I started seriously creating music and like copywriting music, performing music when I was about 14 years ago.
Okay.
And then I'm putting dates, but then I took a break in between to, you know, go to college, get my nursing degree, work in my field, dive into real life, so that when I did get back into the arts, I'd have some type of grounding and, you know, have a much better understanding of just life and everyday life for the majority of people. I don't want to have like the skewed idea of what reality was because of the music industry, because it's so easy to get lost in a bunch of pretending and a bunch of, you know,
It is.
that ain't real. So that's kind of that situation. But I've been doing music my whole life practically.
Wow. Okay.
Singing, but then writing and stuff since I was about 16.
And did that just like come naturally to you, the writing part at least? Did you just wake up and start writing, or did you, you know, have to work on it?
I definitely had to work on writing. I started off just singing, and in all honesty, I didn't even, it wasn't until I was probably like 18, 19, maybe even 20 that I started hearing sounds outside of like the lead vocals. I could never hear like backgrounds or harmonies and stuff like that until I started getting into choir, and then it was like, oh wow, this stuff is really beautiful and really important. But you know, like every other consumer, I was just tuned into listening to whatever the main, like whatever the lead vocal was. But I started writing when I was probably in my like later teenage years, and it's had its challenges, but I think now I'm in a place that I'm comfortable and I'm not trying to write like anybody else. I think that was a difficulty in the beginning. It's like you are inspired by so many great writers and you just want to create something that reminds you or puts you in the mind frame of some of those writers. And I've just had to find my own voice as a writer. Now I'm probably, you know, writing is probably the most fun that I have. And just really determining what I want to say and deciding what I want to say and how I want to say it.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's funny that you said too about finding your voice earlier, and not being able to hear, but you had to work on it. I was the same way until I got into choir, and then I started to hear the other sounds too, and because I don't know why, but I could never hear the bottom note for whatever reason, and that was the part that I sang. It was crazy. But what I started doing was listening to groups, and I started listening to, groups. I won't even say choirs. I started listening to groups, whether it was R&B or gospel, and I really started picking out those parts. Like, okay, this is who's singing this. This is who's singing that. Like, then I started getting like in what's the song? In Heartbreak Hotel, Whitney Houston, Faith Evans, and Kelly Price. I never heard the background vocals in it, and hearing all of them sing the harmony, and I was like, now today I can hear who's singing what.
Right.
It is different, yeah.
See, and it's funny you say that record because all I can hear is Whitney Houston. That's all I used to hear. Now I do hear it, and you're like, oh dang, Faith Evans on that little thing getting off. Yeah, Kelly Price. No, that's funny that you said that. So you sing too, man. You a musician yourself.
Yeah, I sing sometimes, but not like you do.
Oh man.
I'm trying to, you know, work some stuff out and pick it back up. But I used to be able to play piano and all that stuff, but I lost it. I used to play I used to play piano. I used to play the bass in the orchestra too, but I lost all of that stuff. So I'm slowly picking it back up and trying to go to vocal coaching and all that kind of stuff now.
Good stuff, man. One thing I know I definitely regret is not sticking to an instrument, man.
Yeah.
An instrument is so essential and so important when like creating sound. I used to play piano. Now I could just peck a little something here and there. But I like, I need to definitely spend more time getting back into that for sure, because it's so fundamental, and just
Yes.
it's instrumental to being able to create and hearing sounds, and creating a vibe.
Right, right. And
Mm.
sometimes it's better for you to be able to you know what I'm saying, put out what you hear in your head, because sometimes everybody don't understand that.
Everybody can't get
And
it.
if you can't play an instrument, it's even harder.
Right, you trying to sing, no, I want it to sound like this,
Right, right.
Yeah, some stuff gets lost in translation, most certainly.
It's crazy though, but yeah, that is true. But now that you've started doing things a little more, and you've got a little more how do you say it, seasoned in what you're doing.
Come on,
Yeah, seasoned in what you're doing. Like, is there a particular sound that you go for now, or do you just go in and create and it just comes, you just come up with whatever?
that's a good question. So I am probably, I was going to say probably more moody, but no, everybody probably has a little bit. I'm very moody. So depending on my mood, that will determine the sound that I want to create. And depending on the samples, and depending on the tracks, like that definitely will determine. But I can definitely say I'm more keen on writing moody music for sure. Like, that is what I have found over the years, that's like a sweet spot for me. The music that is a little dark, even if it's light, the topics are light, but just has a dark, component to it, that I think tends to be what lane that I enjoy the most, for sure. I can write pretty much anything, but I think I have the most fun with slightly darker material.
Yeah. But you know what? I really honestly think people relate to that more, because it really is something to be able to put somebody in a mood, no matter what it is.
Right.
So I think people really relate. That's why gospel music is so, spiritual and touching, because it's talking about something that you know of. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It really touches something. Just like even in R&B, all this stuff kind of goes together.
They do.
We'll talk about that later. But but R&B music, especially 90s music, that I always talk about.
all in gospel inspired.
You know what I'm saying?
All of the gospel, all
Listen,
the singers are all gospel inspired.
all of it. If you listen to, like, let's say even SWB Week, like, that could be gospel, honestly.
Right.
So
Right.
you know
For
what I'm
sure.
saying? Just listen to that song. Just take out the thought of a person in it, and you put God in it. I promise you, it can turn into a gospel song just that fast.
They're crying.
Yeah.
Crying. No, but it's the truth. It's the truth, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy, but music works that way, and people don't understand. Like, I was listening to like some country music, and I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Mm.
The stories that they tell in this stuff, like, but it really is like, okay, this really is like R&B, but it just have different beats. It's just faster. You might think of cowboys instead of a relationship, but meanwhile they talk about the same stuff. So
Different instrumentation for sure. But it,
right.
it is country music. All of that stuff is inspired by and comes from soul music, and
That's
all
right.
rhythm and blues,
That's
really.
right. That's right.
It's blues with a twist.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy, because it's just like the staple singers, where I'll take you there and everybody be like, dancing in the club to that song, all kind of stuff, and then they're like, this is a gospel song,
Yeah.
but it can really be whatever you want it to be. But they were originally gospel singers before, but
Yeah.
it is what you want it to be.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So speaking of other artists, do you have musical influences? I'm sure.
I do. I love Stevie Wonder. Love Stevie Wonder. I
I don't
love
know how you knew I was thinking of Stevie, but okay.
love Stevie. Love Earth, Wind and Fire. Love John Legend. I love the Amy
Yes.
Winehouses of the world. Um, I just love people who write and sing with conviction. I love
Mm.
when somebody is committed to what they are doing, even if it's different. it might not necessarily be understood at the time, but I just love creatives that create and express themselves in that way. And those are the people that I typically tend to gravitate towards, you know, people that really
Yeah.
sing their hearts out.
Yeah.
And if they don't, it don't got to be perfect. It don't got to be, you know, pitch perfect and every note right, but just people who are that are passionate. So I mean, I listen to Stevie Wonder practically every day, but
Yeah.
I listen to some of his older stuff, and it's just like, wow, the cadences are so different. You don't hear music nowadays that's not like A or A, like its sequences and rhythms and timing and everything is just like it's remarkable. So like those are the folks that I love, the Donny Hathaways of the
Oh
world,
yeah. Oh yeah.
the Al Greens, you know,
Yeah.
and the Isleys. Like I just love that type of music, that era, live instrumentation, and
Mm-hmm.
people singing about life, you
That's
know.
right. That's right. Don't forget Barry White.
Oh, come on, Chloe.
Look, it's a lot of them, but I love Stevie too. I was literally thinking of Stevie in my mind, but I think Stevie really topped a lot of people because he touched multiple genres and then he played a lot of instruments at that. So I mean, I don't even think he could be outdone at this point.
No, Stevie is price is way too high. Cut it. Yeah,
Oh
no,
man.
absolutely not. But those are people that I really those are people I love. I jive with.
Yeah.
I love also Michael Jackson.
Of
Michael
course.
Jackson,
Of course.
incredible. Beyonce, incredible.
Of
You know,
course.
those people who are, I admire those people that are all around entertainer performers because I'd be like, oh, Lord have mercy. I gotta do a whole lot of running and jogging. You know, running and singing before I could do all of that stuff. So those people, they're just amazing performers too, as well.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any albums that you can think of that, you know, just did it for you? Like you
Mhm.
said, I got to do this, or this is it. Like that you can think of off the top of your head.
Back to Black, Amy Winehouse's Back to Black,
Okay.
amazing album. Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life,
Yes, definitely.
amazing
Yes.
album. Shoot, Lemonade by Beyonce,
Oh
amazing,
yeah.
amazing albums. And I was gonna say all of that. Those are all like different, definitely different types of albums, but just in each and every one of those albums, it's just so much like truth and personal conviction, and that's what I think
Mm-hmm.
for me what resonates so strongly with that music. Man, Songs in the Key of Life. I promise you, you can listen to that thing every day and find something new.
That's right. That's right.
Just, you know, so I'm over here sounding like a Stevie Wonder stan. But you know, to me, that's what with great artistry and great writers and creators and composers. That's what it's about. Sometimes, you know, having so many things that sometimes the consumer might not get it right away, but over
Mm-hmm.
time, it's something that can be studied, and there's so many different layers that can be revealed when you listen to the art and you really dig deeper behind just what is out on the surface. So those are
Yeah.
B Day is another one. Beyonce's B Day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Crazy,
yeah. Oh
crazy,
yeah. Come on now. Come on
crazy.
now.
Yeah, those albums, those are things definitely I gotta have those on my phone all the time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Now I got to go listen to some of those today, thanks to you.
I'm
So,
saying, saying.
but I want to talk about your music some more though before we go. So I know you had the single "Money, Sex, and Guns" as well.
Yes.
I did hear that one as well. I like that one as well too. So, what can people expect from you moving forward with music? And are you working on a EP or project or what's going on?
So I mean, let me answer the first question first. Am I working on an EP or project? Yes, I am working on an EP right now.
Okay.
I'm working on an album, but realistically, EP is going to come out first, depending on a few different things.
Okay.
So I am working on a body of work. I am working on a musical body of work for sure. What people can expect from me is I was going to say they can expect the unexpected.
Okay.
Um, if you listen to Money, Sex, and Guns and you listen to It's Complicated, you see they are completely different.
Of course.
Um, the album that I want to create is something that is soul influenced. Everything is soul influenced or inspired, but I want it to be relatively eclectic and dynamic in sound. So I have some stuff on there that is like Money, Sex, and Guns, more of an alternative sound. Then I have It's Complicated, your more conventional R&B kind of
Mm-hmm.
jazzy type field records. I have some like trap soul records on the album. I have some pop ballads like on the album. I have so much different music. So what I'm endeavoring to do is for this first project, every new song, every new single, I wanted to have a different feel and kind of really introduce a different component to me, to the consumer, with every music video and individual song project for this album. So, by the time we get through, I got about I got about 8 music videos I want to do for this project.
Oh
By
Lord.
the time we get through, I think people will have a much better idea of who I am,
Mm-hmm.
or they will at least have, even if they're not an R&B fan, even if they're, don't necessarily like soul music, there's something on this album for everyone. So I think they can expect good music. It's going to be good music, and it's going to be honest music. It's going to be direct. Uh, it's about real life, inspired from real situations and real people. So that's what you could definitely expect from the album that I'm working on, and that they can expect from me in general. One of the things I'm doing now that I started doing a few months ago is like doing a motivational message on Mondays.
Okay.
So a part of what that is just putting out information, putting it into the atmosphere, recommendations, funny tips, healthy life tips, ways to just keep your mind and your mental health together, advice sometimes on family, friendship scenarios, and just like I want to focus my artistry on just being honest, being authentic, and really just appreciating life and navigating through life in a way that is genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that means your hair ain't gonna be done. Sometimes that mean you might have to let one of these little buttons out, down here.
Okay.
Need a little bit extra. Sometimes you're dealing with a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something that ain't treating you the best, but you're still with them.
Okay.
All
Right.
and you ain't ready to move on. So those are all real life scenarios that we just don't talk about.
Right.
I really want to focus my artistry on having difficult conversations, on being relatable, honest, and just allowing people to know that it is okay sometimes to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
being able to identify that and being okay with the fact that everything is not okay, that's a part of the healing process. I'm just about people being the best them that they can be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a lot of what the message is in my music.
All right. All right. I love that though. And sometimes people don't understand how versatile you need to be in doing things like music, because sometimes we get caught up in just listening to one thing. It's like, no, you need to be able to step out and do different sounds and different things and see what you don't know. Try something different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
See what works.
Right.
And what don't work. And even if it don't work, keep doing it too.
Right, because sometimes you're doing something that's different and people be like, oh, that's whack, or I don't like that.
Right.
I can't tell you how many people did not understand Money, Sex, and Guns.
Mm-hmm.
When I talked to my producer, no, not my producer for that one, but when I talked to my engineer about that, and I talked to some friends that are, I'm in LA, so everybody here is musical and all that.
Oh yeah.
When I talked to some friends about what I wanted to do, and I talked to the engineer when we were going into actually making the record, he was kind of like, that doesn't sonically make sense, or you want to do this, or that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be this way, or people are not going to get it, they're not going to understand it. So in my mind, I had so much, even though I knew what I wanted and I could hear it in my head throughout the process, you just hear so many people that are so afraid, or people that are projecting their fear onto you because they're not ready for what you're trying to do, or they feel like, well, that's not what's going on right now.
That's
So you
right.
need to do this. You need to sound like Summer Walker, or you need to sound like Giveon, or you need to sound like this person. And it's like, no, those people are all amazing in their own right, but I don't want to create that. Right. We already have a Giveon. We already have so I was like, I want to create my own sound. I want to, do something. So sometimes people might not get it, but then once it all comes together, when it came together, my engineer was like, oh, wow, this is genius. He was like, this is genius. And this is like, he's like, this reminds me of like Marilyn Manson and like some other, like, you know, a bunch of other, you know, artists that he wouldn't have necessarily pegged me to be that.
Right.
But I told him, I'm like, man, you can't put limitations on artistry. You know, things change and sounds change. And sometimes you just have to try different things. And that thing that you're trying, I can't tell you how many people have provided so much positive feedback, but you know, they say like, I love this. I love this. This is different. This is weird. Some of my friends like, this is so weird. But then they listen to it a couple of times and they like, hey man, this bangs.
Yeah.
So sometimes you might think it's not working, or it's about timing.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Listen, I mean, what I think who was it? Solange. She wrote Cranes in the Sky 7 to 8 years before it came out, and she put it out 8 years later, and then the song blew up. She won a Grammy for it, had a #1 album. So at the time, somebody might not have got it. If she would have released it in, you know, in 2007 when she wrote it, it might not have gotten any traction.
Exactly.
But she released it at a time that it was relevant, that the industry and people, the public was ready to be receptive and needing something that was different.
That's right.
And, you know, and that shot her to a different level of critical acclaim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Solange, and that album, freaking amazing.
Oh yes.
But yeah, that's another album. That's a whole other body. That's amazing. At the table, incredible work. Yes. But it's about timing, and it's about just going with your gut. And sometimes, even if it doesn't sound like what's out right now, that's okay. People will catch on.
Yeah, it's really just about trusting yourself too, because you can't get caught up on what everybody else thinks and says too. Sometimes when you know something is meant, you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? And everybody won't agree. Everybody won't say okay. You just still got to go ahead and say, okay, you know what? I got to do this anyways. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. But that's just the main thing, believing in yourself. But let people know where they can find your music, and as well as your website if you have one, and your social media platforms.
Fantastic. So you guys can find my music on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, all of that. Search Alonzo Direct. So 2 words, I think it's Alonzo space Direct on all of those digital streaming platforms. If you want to find me on IG, that's my main social media that I use and post through. It's Alonzo Direct _. So Alonzo Direct together and _, and that's Alonzo with a Z. So ALONZO Direct _. There's a link tree on my IG. So in my link in my bio on my IG, it has all the access to my Facebook, to my Twitter, to my TikTok. Yeah, I do a little TikTok every now and again too. And just all of those other social media sites. It also has like links to my music videos. We are working on getting my website back up and running, and that's going to be alonzodirect.com. So look out for that too. If you hear this interview and it's been probably a month or so from now, and you can just go on and log on to alonzodirect.com. That's where you can find me mainly. Also YouTube, get on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube already, it's Alonzo Direct, 1 word. When you put it in the little search bar, Alonzo Direct, page will pop up. You can see the new music video. So it's complicated. You can also see the music video for Money, Sex, and Guns. You can see some funny little interviews on there, some stuff that you can get to know me outside of that. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right. Sounds good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than Mr. Alonzo himself. Thank you again.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me, brother. I appreciate you.
No problem.
Have a good day out there in Miami. I might have to come out there soon and hit the beach once the COVID little restrictions loosen up a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.